Last June I had the opportunity to run the Grand Canyon, and I wanted to make a video about that and share some of the views and the experience with others so that hopefully it might inspire someone else to make the same trip. It's an incredible way to spend a day, whether you're hiking, you're running, whether you do the whole thing or just part of it. It really has unbelievable beauty, and it was a real pleasure to spend a day down in the canyon. This video is actually shot over 2 different trips. The first trip unfortunately didn't go quite according to plan. Both of them occurred in June of last year. It was over 100 degrees on both days, and it is something certainly to consider whenever you're planning your own trip. We had one of our crew members who ended up having some mild heat exhaustion and dehydration issues, so it's something to consider. I ended up recording 2 different versions of this video. One's a short, one's a long one. This is obviously the short one. I try to just condense down everything into just kind of the most memorable or the most beautiful shots. Try not to talk nearly as much in the shorter one. The reality is there's so much beauty down there that it was really hard to choose and chop this down. So if you have the time, I would certainly encourage you to watch the longer one. One thing to note is I had GPS watch issues all day long. And so it ended up stating that I had run much more than the 47 miles, which it actually is. So that's one thing whenever you're watching, if you're paying attention to when I'm talking about mileage. I didn't realize till much later that I was having those issues. One more thing before I go, I just wanted to say thanks so much to Path Projects. If you don't know Path Projects, they, in my opinion, make some of the best running apparel that I've ever used. They make shorts, shirts, liners, hats, and other accessories. By far my favorite items to wear, whether it's on short runs or long runs or events like this, and I can't recommend them enough. I'll include a link below. Also, their website is pathprojects.com. And thanks so much. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions or if I can be of any help, feel free to leave a comment. I'll make sure to get to all of them that I can. And thanks again for watching. Almost 2.5 miles in, and views are starting to get pretty spectacular, as you can see. Woo! This really is tough to run because you kind of can't really get much of a rhythm. And for me, if I put too much pounding on these downhills, my quads and my calves will be cooked by the time I get to the turnaround. This gives you an idea of the switchbacks coming up. So definitely a little bit of walking in here, not so much running, but certainly beautiful. This is definitely a section that will remind you to have your toenails cut as short as possible, because even with going up a half size in shoe, you still feel your feet kind of banging up against the front of your shoes. That's where we just came from. And yeah, starting to warm up a little bit, probably getting into the 70s. And starting to see the sun peek through a little bit. Starting to see people. Just saw a ranger. Got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's a snack on. Six and a half miles, about an hour and 50 minutes or so. Absolutely beautiful. This is actually surprisingly dark. Let's see if I turn this off. I can barely see anything. And once we get out, have this amazing suspension bridge. And you're out on the water. Unbelievable. Worth every step along the way. Little windy on the bridge. Mile 7.3, 2 hours and 10 minutes in. Starting to really feel like we're in the canyon now. Lots of runnable trails. Mile 7.6.
Comes out real easy like. Crystal clear.
We are at Phantom Ranch. Three hours and 11.6 miles. We're starting to get a little bit of elevation gain. Starting to climb a little bit. Doing a little bit of power hiking when I can, or walking when I can't power hike. And you can see it is lush down here. Of course, we're near the river, but you know, knowing that we come from that, just rock and dirt and dust, and then down here you've got just this beautiful lush greenery. Really seems like two different worlds, only a couple miles apart. There's Cottonwood, and there's one more spot where there's water available right now. It's the last one running. And make sure to fill up there because it'll be the last opportunity before the big climb. It's a rare kind of runnable section close to the North Rim. Pretty soon here we'll be doing nothing but climbing, so take advantage of it. A little downhill running in, make up a little time, a little boost of confidence. 4,400 feet of ascent, 23 miles, and 6 hours 15 minutes. Now at the Supai Tunnel, in the last 2 to 3 miles of ascent at the North Rim, and certainly feeling it. It's no joke. Trekking poles, definitely a huge plus. And make sure to have lots of water. Being a beautiful view from the North Rim descent. Starting to get a chance to see the views that I guess you could say were earned on the way up. We are on the downhill at the North Rim. It's much more pleasant than the uphill, I might say. And yeah, much cooler as well. Oh man, this is insane. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think this is what they call the box. At least it feels like it. Starting to learn what this desert heat is all about. Apparently it's around 112 today in the sun, and tell you what, you start running for a little bit and it feels like the heat just kind of constricts your breathing. There are the horses of Phantom Ranch. Phantom Ranch is that way. And just now getting to the Bright Angel South Kaibab Trail split. This is the Bright Angel Trail, the Silver Bridge, and then of course the river. What an amazingly beautiful way to spend the day. Still on Bright Angel, and I have to say, it's almost like the views just keep getting better as I go. And it looks completely different than Kaibab. Like, so much different that I feel like I'm in a completely different location. "14 hours and 26 minutes in, and this is extremely lush. Like, just unlike anything else I've seen all day. It's just as lush as can be. And again, towering over us. Huge slabs. One thing I noticed on this section of Bright Angel is it is very stuffy. Feels like you are in a tight closet. Absolutely zero airflow, just stagnant air. So definitely something to be aware of. I'm going to guess we got to climb all the way to the top. I'll just hope that is not a fall summit. That would be a bummer. Well, Bright Angel started down there not long ago, came all the way around, and now we're up here. Gotta keep going up this way. So whatever I was thinking about it being gentle, I may have been incorrect. Very beautiful, but gentle is not the word I would use for it. Just left the last stop for water. Indian River, maybe. And saw a deer coming right out. That's what that was. Apparently I have 4.5 miles left. It is currently just shy of 15 hours, which should put me at 7 o'clock or just before. I think if I can get done by 8:30, should still have daylight, or at least a little bit, enough to hike in. And in theory, it should only get cooler from here. So the final push, here it is. Almost looks like I'm in a valley surrounded by just big old slabs of rock. So somehow or another, I think if I'm not mistaken, I got to get to the top of one of these to get over. So only one way home. That's up, 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 up and away. On this trail there are a ton of deer. It's probably the 7th and 8th deer or so I've seen since I got out of the last water spot. Slow and steady. Trying to visualize how this goes up. Does seem like a lot of feet in a pretty short period of time.